How you doing, YouTube? This is Gunner Return 67 bringing you another YouTube video. Today's YouTube video is going to be the possible SHTF scenario in 2024. My take on the coming collapse, episode 6. How you doing, YouTube? This is the very first YouTube video of 2024. And today we're just going to be talking about what possibly we can expect here in 2024. So 2024 is already starting to ramp up to be a very unique year. First off, this year here in the United States, we have the presidential elections. It's going to get crazy. Regardless if you're for the leaning politically from the left or leaning right, we are going to see some crazy stuff this year. I'm not going to spend too much time in regards to politics, but over the last 3-4 years, no, I would say 5 years, we have seen so many moments where normally we would sit down and be talking with friends and family, say, oh, that would never happen here. And that never happened is happening. So watch for that to continue this year. The things that we thought never would happen in a million years are going to start happening or continue to happen. So with a presidential year, we're going to continue to see the corruption of U.S. politicians on both sides of the aisle, left and right. We're going to continue to see the weaponization of the U.S. justice system and all of the U.S. alphabet agencies. All of them have deep state actors and all of them have bad intentions. So at least utilize that as one of the reasons to prep in 2024. Additionally, what can we expect in 2024? A continuing rise of the U.S. national debt. We're already over 34 trillion. It's going to continue to rise. And with that also comes the federal governments that try to figure out a way to pay that debt down, and it's usually never in the correct way. They usually continue to borrow, they continue to rack up debt, and then they continue to try to raise taxes on everyday people, and it just doesn't end well. So expect that to continue. Position yourself to where you get all your needs met. You have the ability to continue to prep food, water, personal protection, power generation, first aid. Continue to do those things and can try to put a little bit of money away for a rainy day as well. We're also going to continue to see inflation. Inflation of our food prices, our fuel prices, our health care, and like I said before, rising taxes. We're going to continue to see these, and they're going to get exponentially worse in 2024. So prepare yourself. We're also going to continue to see the U.S. dollar's loss of value. Since the inception of the Federal Reserve in 1913, we've seen the U.S. dollar's value fall by over 97%. I actually think it's over 98% now, but so all of that purchasing power over the last 110 years has eroded because of federal government's inability to balance their budgets to operate within their means. So continue, or just expect the continuation of the loss of the value of the U.S. dollar. Internationally, you have the rise of BRICS Plus. BRICS Plus, the original members are Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa, and now in January of this year, they've had additions into BRICS. Saudi Arabia, Iran, United Arab Emirates, Egypt, and Ethiopia. These are all countries that have come out and said that they are looking for a way to de-dollarize, basically stop using the U.S. dollar and stop relying on the U.S. for anything, which if that transpires this year, or a good portion of it, then you're going to see economically the U.S. go from a first world country to probably a second world country. Additionally, with that, with the rise of BRICS this year, they are, like I said before, they are mounting a specific de-dollarization effort. I do believe that the potential for them to stop the petrodollar and then also to push for the U.S. not to be the world reserve currency. If these two things happen, just by themselves will cause massive amounts of hyperinflation, which is bad for anyone living here in the U.S. because our dollar will be basically worthless. Basically, what would cause hyperinflation is the loss of the petrodollar. Basically, OPEC and a lot of BRICS nations, they utilize the U.S. dollar to pay for oil, and then they take those dollars and they put them into U.S. treasuries. So it creates a demand for U.S. dollars. This is one reason why the U.S. can print massive amounts of paper currency, and they export that to the rest of the world, which is the reason why the U.S. has not had a hyperinflation yet. But if you get all of those U.S. dollars, there's no need for them anymore with governments, central banks, normal banks, and individuals. That money has to go somewhere, and it usually goes back to its country of origin. And when you create a surplus in a country of currency, you wind up getting inflation and in a lot of cases hyperinflation. And that's what potentially could happen. In addition to the loss of the petrodollar status, we could also see the loss of the world reserve currency status. Basically, the US dollar is the most sought after and sure bet as far as stability of currencies. So you have a lot of banks and governments that hold US dollars during times of economic trouble. That way they stabilize their purchasing power. And again, just like with a petrodollar, if globally countries say, hey, we don't want the US dollar to be the world reserve currency, then you no longer have a need to hold those dollars. And again, all those dollars got to go somewhere. They usually go back to their country of origin. And again, when you flood a market with currency, it tends to inflate or hyperinflate. So watch for that to possibly happen in 2024. Additionally, we can expect to continue to see the logarithmic decay of critical infrastructure here in the United States. You're already seeing it. There was a article about a aircraft flight door coming off. That is a perfect example of logarithmic decay of our utilities and our transportation system and our government-run systems because they're not being taken care of properly. You have a government that sits down there and focuses on the individuals that are heads of these specific organizations, that what their color is, what their sexual preference is, what their ethnicity is, as opposed to how well they can do their job, or how well or how good is their moral compass, how good of a person they are. They're focusing on the wrong things, and it's causing a lot of wrong decisions to be made, and it is affecting our critical infrastructure. And we're going to continue to see more of it. I mean, you can go ahead and also point to our electric grid. A lot of states are having issues with the power grid. And we're going to continue to see that logarithmic decay of our utilities, for government-run programs and transportation system. Pete Buttigieg, he runs the Department of Transportation. He is a terrible transportation secretary. He is taking almost as much vacation as President Biden has. He is AWOL on his job, and nothing is getting better. It's just going to continue to get worse, so prepare accordingly. Additionally, here in the United States, record illegal immigration crossings. We're being invaded. Over the last 3 years, it's projected that we've had over 10 million illegal immigrants cross the border and are here in the United States. And they're probably here to stay. I anticipate that to get worse, especially if former President Trump, it looks like he's going to get reelected. If he looks like he's going to get reelected, and then the election comes and he gets elected, you are going to see 5, 10 times as many illegal immigrants rushing to the border to get across into the United States before he takes office, because he is going to go ahead and lock that border down if he gets back in office, which could trigger a SHTF event in itself. So expect that to continue in 2024. Expect societal and cultural issues to still continue here in the West. You have godlessness taking hold, the Western movement of emasculating men, destroying the nuclear family, gender bending, and the rise of socialism and communism. These are all things that are going to continue in 2024. With all that being said, with all of these issues transpiring, and this is just domestic issues here in the United States and in most Western countries, you also have the international conflicts going on with Israel and then Ukraine. So all of these things, one more push in the wrong direction, and we could potentially see a more global event. Am I saying World War III will be triggered? Not necessarily, but a spread to other countries definitely is on the cards here in 2024. What does that mean for me and you? Well, it means that me personally, that I'm going to continue to prepare. And I'm probably going to put more of an emphasis on this year, because I truly feel like this is a pivotal year. And if something is going to happen that significantly impacts my life, it's going to be this year. So what I'm doing, I'm going to continue to prep in regards to my personal protection. Depending on where you live, if your laws allow it, make sure you get something that can provide protection to yourself and your family and property. My personal protection gear of choice is a firearm, my trusty Glock 35 and 40 Smith & Wesson. Make sure that you also, if firearms is your method of protection, make sure you get the training and make sure you get the equipment that goes along with it. Your firearms, your cleaning kit. Make sure you know how to shoot and how to maintain it. Because if it's broke, if it's dirty, or if you don't have rounds to shoot out of it, it's worthless. Also, make sure you stockpile food and water. Just like my mini Sawyer right here. As far as water goes, I can purify my water. Make sure you get the containers to go along with it. And then my trusty MRE here, that old chicken burrito bowl. Not the tastiest thing in the world, but it provides you the caloric requirement you need to sustain yourself for an extended period of time. And if you can't get MREs or freeze-dried food or dehydrated food, go ahead and get canned food. Get the simple things like beans and rice. Get some Mylar bags, some oxygen absorbers, and go ahead and stockpile them away. Additionally, I'm going to continue to work on my power generation. I've got a few methods of power generation. I've got a gasoline generator that has over 5,500 running watts. I've got a couple of solar generators. So I have the ability to go ahead and produce power if the grid goes down. So additionally to that, I've got a way to climate control my home. I live in North Florida, so right now it's the winter time. It doesn't get too cold, but I have the ability to keep my house warm. I got a fireplace. I've got things that run off of propane. I've got a decent stock of propane. I've got wood. And then during the summertime, I've got numerous ways to keep cool. I've got numerous Ryobi fans that I have batteries that I can hook up to my solar generators or my gasoline generators to keep them powered. I will also go ahead and continue to prep first aid and medical supplies, because things still happen during an SHTF event. It doesn't stop. So I need to make sure I have a way to mend myself and my family, or get them in a stable condition so I can transport them and get to my hospital if something bad happens and utilities and services are out. I'm going to continue to improve my communications. Make sure that you have NOAA radios or long-range walkie-talkies, and if you're lucky enough, your ham radio. These are all things that are required for communication. And last thing, after I've had all of my preps that are essential, I'm going to look at stabilizing my purchasing power by taking my fiat currencies and putting it into precious metals, silver and gold. I'm big on silver and gold. I want to ensure I maintain my purchasing power, regardless of what happens economically or financially here in the Western world. I'm going to continue to focus on my health and my physical fitness. And then I'm also going to continue to create and nurture relationships with like-minded individuals. These are all the things that I feel that I need in order to confront the possible situations that can transpire in 2024. And hopefully everyone watching this video, hopefully you guys start preparing if you haven't already prepared, or you continue to prepare as well. Because the more you prepare now, when things are cheaper and available, the more of a probability that you will get to the other side after an SHTF event. All right, YouTube, that's enough for now. Happy 2024. If you like this content, please go ahead and hit that subscribe button. If you like this video, hit that like button. Please leave me a comment down below of what you like, what you don't like. Let me know what you're going to focus on in 2024. And this is Gunnery Sergeant 67. I'm out.